Hello everyone and welcome to the lecture on Amazon EKS Distro. So this lecture will contain all those topics. What is Amazon EKS Distro? Typical workflow. EKS versus EKS Distro. What problems does Amazon EKS Distro solve? Why should I use Amazon EKS Distro? Why should you use Amazon EKS Distro over building and managing Kubernetes on my own? What is included in Amazon EKS Distro and operating system support? So what is Amazon EKS Distro? Amazon EKS Distro allows you to manually run Kubernetes clusters in various environments. It is based on the same open source Kubernetes used in Amazon EKS. EKS Distro bundles essential components like open source Kubernetes itself, etcd, which is used as the cluster configuration database, and necessary networking and storage plugins, all tested for compatibility. This distribution offers extended support for Kubernetes version even after the standard community support period ends. This is achieved by providing updates with the latest critical security patches for older versions. You can access EKS Distro releases through open source platforms like GitHub. Within the AWS ecosystem, you can find them in Amazon S3 Simple Storage Service and Amazon Elastic Container Registry ECR, providing a consistent source for releases and updates. When you deploy clusters using EKS Distro, you benefit from the fact that AWS takes responsibility for testing and keeping track of Kubernetes updates, dependencies, and security patches. Each EKS Distro release undergoes verification for compatibility with new Kubernetes versions, and you also get the source code, open source tools, and the settings to ensure reproducible builds. So the diagram shows the Amazon EKS Distro workflow from building Kubernetes clusters to viewing and exploring the apps on the Amazon EKS dashboard in the AWS Management Console. So you start by downloading and building Kubernetes clusters with your own tooling. Then you have self-managed resources like which you use. It can be bare metal, it can be virtual machines, or it can be Amazon EC2 instances. Then third step, you run Kubernetes apps on the EKS Distro cluster, and you can see Amazon EKS dashboard in the AWS Management Console, and from there onwards you can view and explore the running Kubernetes apps. So what is the difference between EKS, which is the AWS Kubernetes Cloud Service, and the EKS Distro? The main difference is in how they are managed. EKS is a fully managed Kubernetes platform, while EKS Distro is available to install and manage yourself. You can run EKSD on premises, in a cloud, or on your own systems. EKSD provides a path to having essentially the same Amazon EKS Kubernetes distribution running wherever you need to run it. Once EKSD is running, you are responsible for managing and upgrading it yourself. For end users, however, running applications is the same as with EKS, since the two support the same API versions and same set of components. So what problem does Amazon EKS Distro solve? So if you create Kubernetes clusters manually, you probably spend a lot of effort tracking updates, determining compatible versions of Kubernetes and its dependencies, testing them for compatibility, and maintaining pace with the Kubernetes release cadence. However, you may be uncertain when choosing the required Kubernetes component versions and security releases for the right balance of performance, security, and latest stable versions. You need to allocate resources and time to maintain Kubernetes testing infrastructure to ensure component version compatibility, support tooling compatibility, and performance regressions for each version release of Kubernetes and its dependency. You likely either don't perform these tests or take on significant effort and expense to keep up with the Kubernetes version release lifecycle. A new Kubernetes release is announced every 3 to 4 months, with critical security patch support provided only for the 3 latest versions. If you are unable to maintain pace for testing and qualifying new versions, you risk breaking changes, version compatibility issues, and running unsupported versions of Kubernetes lacking critical security patches. So why should I use EKS Distro? So EKS Distro helps you manually run clusters using a Kubernetes distribution of compatible versions of the latest release and its dependencies, tested for reliability and security. EKS Distro provides access to installable, reproducible Kubernetes builds for cluster creation, as well as extended security patching support after community support expires. Extended Kubernetes maintenance support is offered for up to 14 months in accordance with Amazon EKS version lifecycle policy, giving you the time necessary to update your infrastructure in alignment with your software lifecycle. So why should you use Amazon EKS Distro over building and managing Kubernetes on yourself? So Amazon EKS Distro alleviates the need to track updates, determine compatibility, and standardize on a common Kubernetes version across distributed teams. This makes it easier for you to create clusters and manage the Kubernetes lifecycle. While you may be able to do this on your own, it takes significant effort. EKS Distro provides you the confidence of the latest secure versions tested for compatibility through Amazon EKS version support. So what is included in the EKS Distro? EKS Distro includes the open source upstream Kubernetes components and third-party tools including configuration database, network, and storage components necessary for cluster creation. These include Kubernetes control plane components, for example, Kube Controller Manager, etcd, and Core DNS. Kubernetes node components, for example, Kubelet, Kubernetes CSI and CNI, and command line clients, for example, kubectl and etcd-ctl. And the operating system support. So EKS Distro provides the same upstream versions of Kubernetes and dependencies tested by operating system vendors and confirmed to work with Kubernetes. As a result, EKS Distro works with common operating systems already used to run Kubernetes cluster such as CentOS, Canonical Ubuntu, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, SUSE, and more. EKS Distro is tested with select vendors to ensure support on BottleRocket, Amazon Linux 2, and Canonical has tested EKS Distro for compatibility with Ubuntu. AWS continues to work with partners to expand the vendors which have qualified EKS Distro as compatible with their operating system. And that's all. Thanks for watching.